There's been a lot of competition heating up in the foldable space lately, and something crazy to me is how the Motorola Razr Plus does not get enough credit for its versatile 3.6-inch cover display. This thing is quite useful, and if you're having a hard time deciding between the Z Flip 5 and the Razr Plus, this video should at least help educate you on what Motorola is doing so that you can make an informed decision. Without wasting any more time, here's everything you can do on the Motorola Razr Plus cover display. Our Android covers today have been made possible with the help of Roborock. Roborock is most known for their intelligent, automatic robot vacuums with a huge focus on a simple-to-use, dedicated app. When using the dedicated Roborock app to control your vacuum, you'll be able to build a virtual layout of your home, set no-zone areas, and plan ahead with a daily cleaning routine. Plus, the dedicated app will also allow you to check the maintenance status and operate the vacuum with a virtual remote control. The Roborock dedicated app is widely compatible with other devices in their lineup. If you want to learn more, stick around to the end. For now, Motorola has the biggest cover display on any flip style foldable, sitting at 3.6 inches, and I do find this to be the most useful form factor to date for flip phones. Motorola designed the cover screen layout into panels, so it operates much like your typical Android home screen or maybe a smartwatch perhaps. This means swiping down on the notification shade will reveal all the traditional quick setting toggles like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, data, etc., plus a brightness slider. Here's where you can access all of your music controls as well, or they'll automatically show up when the screen is locked with the album art slightly faded into the background. Swiping to the left or right will get you access to the homepage panels, which typically consists of your pre-selected apps, Google Fit, weather, Spotify, games, calendars, and contacts panels. Thankfully, you do have the ability to rearrange the order of which they appear or outright remove them entirely. Taking a deep dive into what these panels actually do, most of them are self-explanatory, but starting with the default homepage, you get the time, date, weather, plus a notification and battery indicator. Tapping on the battery will show you your current percentage, and tapping on the notifications will, well, show you your notifications. You also have the option to enable shortcuts, which will allow for immediate access to all of your home screen panels, but I removed this for a less cluttered look and feel. The apps panel shows you a small selection of apps that you have installed, and hitting that little edit icon will allow you to add new ones or rearrange the existing apps as needed. The Google Fit panel is very simple and will just show you your steps for the day and your activity rings. Hitting that widget will open the full app as well, so you can make adjustments during a workout. The weather panel is also pretty basic and will show you the forecast for the next few hours. Tapping on the widget will open the full Motorola weather app, where you can see a weekly and hourly forecast plus a weather radar. The Spotify panel will give you access to some basic music controls, and tapping on the widget itself will show you recommended artists. Lastly, you have your games panel for Motorola pre-installed games and a generic calendar tab that should sync with your Google Calendar. As these cover screens get bigger and bigger, app compatibility gets talked about more and more, so I wanted to touch on how the apps work with the external display. To my surprise, the cover display can do about 90% of the things a normal smartphone can do. For starters, Motorola supports the ability to use any app on the external display. This function works right out of the box, so you don't have to download anything extra to get this to work or screw around with anything. You just add the app to your app page, hit allow, and then from there, most apps will work perfectly fine. In practice, it's almost like all the apps treat this like a tiny little Android phone, so compatibility issues aren't as common as you would expect it to be. Everything that I would imagine most people use on a daily basis, like Google Keep, streaming, social media apps, Google Maps, and pretty much anything else in between works fine, albeit it's a little cramped on that small display. I've seen this asked a few times, but yes, Snapchat does work fine, and even some wackier use cases work too, like Pokemon Go, for example. By default, apps don't take advantage of the full 3.6-inch edge-to-edge display. Initially, they appear in smaller windowed modes, but thankfully, you do have the choice to force the app into full screen. This you can activate with a swipe up, hit full screen, and then from there you can enjoy any app you want to open on this full screen view. Doing so will maybe give you a ½ inch of extra space, which for a small screen like this is already a huge difference. The camera cutouts do block certain UI elements, so occasionally you are forced to switch back to the default view. Undoubtedly though, the pros far outweigh the cons, and as long as companies give users the choice and make it easy to switch between full screen and default, I have no complaints. I wasn't expecting it, but there's actually quite a few camera features that were added added for the new cover display. There's a super useful feature when you open the camera while using the main screen. At first glance, it's a normal viewfinder, but on the cover screen, it shows the user exactly what the camera sees, which is a really smart feature on Motorola's end. I know other flip phones do this as well, but because the cover display shows in this edge-to-edge full screen view, it feels like a much more cleaner, more modern take on the feature. What you might not know about are some specific camera modes exclusive to the cover screen. If you hop into the camera modes, you will see two new options not included in the normal viewfinder, which are mirror mode and photo booth mode. Neither of them do anything crazy, but in mirror mode, you get an unobstructed view of yourself on the cover screen, and hitting the icon on the top left corner will rotate between these cute little frame filters. Photo booth mode works exactly as it sounds. Turning this mode on will take 4 consecutive photos with 3-second timers in between, and then stitch them together to create a nice photo booth style image. Lastly, something cool I noticed when taking photos in low light was how the edges of the display will turn white to give you some extra brightness. Again, nothing crazy, but all these features come together to make it an interesting experience to say the least. I'm not sure how many people feel this way, but the cover screen customization is one of my favorite features on the Razr Plus. From what I can see, it's not as versatile as Samsung's offerings, but I don't really feel like I'm missing anything major on the Razr Plus. In total, there's about 30 stock wallpapers to choose from. Some of these stock wallpapers have an unlock animation, and as expected, you can use your own personal wallpapers from the Gallery app. As for clock faces, you get about 9 in total, with some having different font variations and the ability to pick from a handful of accent colors. Motorola even includes a clock face with their mascot. It's nothing crazy, but tapping on this little character will give you an animation, which I thought was a nice touch. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about some of these super minor features that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet. For starters, all the Motorola gestures translate perfectly onto the cover screen, so chop to turn on the flashlight and twist to open the camera, for example, work great. The hardware button shortcuts also fully function in the cover screen as well, so double tapping the power button will open the camera, and hitting the volume button to snap a photo works too. Hidden in these settings are accessibility options. These don't change much, but you can increase the text size or change the default display size, and don't forget, holding down in the power button to activate Google Assistant also works on the cover screen. The only issue is you don't see the full interface. Activating the Google Assistant and asking a question will only read the results back to you, which I did find slightly disappointing. At the end of the day, I did find the cover screen on the Razr Plus to be a well thought out, mostly feature complete experience, which is refreshing for the foldable landscape. There's still a lot of work to do, and even if a Razr Plus isn't for you, Motorola added some healthy competition to the landscape this year, and I'm excited to see the future for the Razr series and just flip style foldables in general. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe because I do have a more broad, long-term review coming up on the Razr Plus. And of course, if you have any questions that you want me to cover in said review, leave some comments below and either myself or the community will get to them, or I'll address them in the upcoming full review. Otherwise, guys, I'm getting out of here. This has been Jordan Floyd with 9 to 5 Google. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Our Android coverage today is brought to you by Roborock. If ease of use is important to you, Roborock has you covered with their dedicated app built specifically for their robot vacuums. With the dedicated app, you can take full advantage of your Roborock vacuum by building a virtual layout, planning a daily schedule, and setting no-go zones. On top of that, you can use the app to customize specific cleaning tasks, check the maintenance status, or even use remote control operation, all with a few quick taps. Huge thank you to Roborock for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you in the next one.